Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Suicide bombers and gunmen invade College of Education in Kano, leaving 15 students dead. President Goodluck Jonathan commiserates with families of victims of Kano over attack by terrorists. National Emergency Management Agency says it's unable to confirm figures released by President Jacob Zuma, places death toll from synagogue church building collapse at 80. And the World Bank warns that the Ebola outbreak is likely to have a catastrophic impact on West African economies. But just to remind you now that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. And do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions. Now, elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark has vowed to name corrupt politicians in the country. Addressing journalists in Abuja, and that's in his residence, Chief Clark explained that most of those accusing President Goodluck Jonathan of shielding corrupt politicians are corrupt themselves. He warned politicians to stop blackmailing the president because he had the vote of the Nigerian people and should not be subjected to such threats. He also urged public officers to shun corruption and work to improve the standard of living of citizens.
People talk about corruption. I have decided, as from today, all those corrupt past governors and present governors, I'm going to expose them. I have their record. And I'm going to say it very soon. Nobody is above the law. Nobody is too important. I'm here in Abuja to see that the law takes its own course. So let me warn. Others say, oh, Jonathan has not been able to carry out corruption, clean up corruption from this country. Corruption has been there since the military came into power. In fact, they started it in earnest. Thereafter, people who have no money today, they are the richest among the richest people in Nigeria today.
Nigeria has no single case of Ebola. Well, this positive report is coming from the Minister of Health, Professor Pt.2, in his weekly briefing to the Federal Executive Council on the deadly Ebola virus disease. According to him, the suspected case from Ife has been declared Ebola-free, while the South African woman, who was also quarantined, had no case of Ebola and has returned to her country.
So presently, as we speak, there is nobody suffering from Ebola virus disease in Nigeria, and it has been so for the last 1 week. Within the week, however, there was a suspected case, a student from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, but we've concluded all investigations. She was Ebola negative. She's never had any Ebola virus disease. So Ile-Ife, there's no problem there. There's no incident of Ebola virus disease, and nobody is being placed under surveillance in Osun State. Within the week also, a white South African woman suspected to have Ebola virus disease and who was taken into quarantine from the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Ikeja was found after a series of investigations not to be Ebola positive. So she was Ebola negative. She didn't have Lassa fever. She didn't have dengue or any hemorrhagic fever. but just had some gastroenteritis from other causes.
The Senate has urged the executive arm of government to strengthen port health services in all ports across the country. The Senate arrived at this resolution after debating a motion on the Ebola virus disease in Nigeria, sponsored by 108 senators. The Senate is also urging the African Union and the Economic Community of West African States to create a regional and continental containment program to curb the spread of the disease. Most of the lawmakers urged the federal government to immortalize the heroes and heroines, especially Dr. Ameyo Adadivo, who lost her life in the service to humanity.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, they do consider
urge the federal government to strengthen port health services in all ports of entry in the nation, and 5, personnel, and especially the female consultant, Dr. Ameyo Adadivo, even in death, deserve not only commendation but immortalization for her professional competence and action which restrained Mr. Sawyer, thereby reducing the exposure of more Nigerians to the Ebola virus disease.
I want to say that we need to commend the federal government and the Lagos state government because the synergy that they were able to establish, irrespective of the party differences, was what saved this situation. If both tiers of government did not cooperate, we would have been in a mess today.
I will want to give thanks to Almighty God for giving us the life of Dr. Mrs. Adadivo, who put our professional ethics ahead of all other consideration, laying down our life for all of us to live.
Federal government to strengthen port health services in all ports of entry. Those in favor of prayer for, say aye. Against, say nay. The ayes have it.
And back here in Lagos, the state chapter of the NUT is insisting that proper equipment gets to schools before next week, or their members will not resume. Now, this was their stand at an awareness training held in Lagos on the prevention of the Ebola virus disease in public schools. However, the Lagos state government has promised to put necessary facilities in place before resumption.
September the 22nd, to be or not to be. Against a seemingly victory over the Ebola virus outbreak, the federal government, with the support of the Lagos state government, have advised that schools be reopened on the 22nd of September. The National Union of Teachers, however, have a different thinking. For them, their membership believes before complying, certain questions must be answered.
Have you been supplied gloves in your schools? The infrared thermometer scanner. In fact, 2 teachers were trained per school to take care of this. Are there sanitizers in our schools? We have between today and Monday for Lagos State government to provide all these necessary things.
Despite their strong stand, they still commend the sensitization campaign of the state government, just as the state government insists that appropriate infrastructure will be put in place before the proposed date.
Do you know have you thought about the import on this on the children themselves? When you start putting gun on them as they are coming in, we don't have any reason to worry about thermoscan in our schools.
We're ready to hit the ground running starting from Monday. Some of the things you are saying, we are ready, we know about them, and you are working assiduously to put them in place. For instance, we know how many schools we need to provide tanks to. We know how many schools we need to provide, give running water to. We are working on it, even before Ebola incidents.
It's less than a week to resumption. It will be a miracle of some sort if the Lagos state government delivers on its promises. However, when all is done and dusted, let us all be reminded that the children are at the center of this controversy and must be the overriding factor in the positions held.
Well, the 10th Annual Development Partners Coordinators Meeting of the ECOWAS Commission has ended in Abuja with an agreement to strengthen regional security and effectively manage diseases. The three-day meeting, which started on Monday, also discussed issues bordering on regional economic growth and the 2015 elections among 5 member states, including Togo, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and Nigeria. Members all agreed that the insurgency in the region is a huge economic disadvantage to member states.
Since this meeting of the ECOWAS Commission and development partners started on Monday, the discussions have centered on how to improve the economy of members as well as tackle insecurity which has threatened the region in recent times. Representatives of development partners and the Commission believe that addressing security issues and maintaining effective disease control mechanisms are important for steady growth and development.
Some key challenges requiring urgent attention of ECOWAS member states and partners came up, such as a growing scourge of terrorism, and also the outbreak of epidemic like Ebola virus disease and the containment strategies that have been put in place. These challenges could have serious socio-economic consequences in the entire sub-region.
We informed them of what ECOWAS is doing to coordinate the efforts of our member states to combat this epidemic, and also we requested their assistance, technical or material, to help us coordinate the fight through the West African Health Organization, which is the health institution of ECOWAS.
In view of current health and security challenges facing member states, the Commission presented areas of urgent attention for development partners to focus on.
Together, after further discussions, we came out with the following highlights for the development partners to take away as our key priorities. 1, ECOWAS initiatives to combat the Ebola virus disease, including donations to ECOWAS Solidarity Fund to assist member states. Then election observation and monitoring of upcoming elections in the 5 member states, which was also considered a big priority.
Members are confident that concerned efforts of member states and development partners, as demonstrated during the deliberations, will translate into actions that will transform the ECOWAS region in the days ahead.
Still ahead on 10, federal government puts investment in Nigeria's oil and gas free trade zone at $10 billion. That's on Business News. You join us again.